When you want to go on vacation, how do you prepare for it? If I'm here and I say, I want to go to Disneyland, we plan for it. We pack for it. But as a country, we have chosen the second option. We wake up with absolutely no plan, and we get into the car, and we aimlessly drive around. Meanwhile, the drivers of the car keep promising us that we're going to get to Disneyland. What my job is to tell you the speed, the direction, and the estimated time of arrival. And if we're off course, show you the next safe place to turn around. That's what I'm supposed to do. And the way I look at it is everything that I do, when I see something coming, it's like we're on a grid. And I tell you, hey, I think we're headed down here. And it might be starting up here in, let's say, Chicago. We're headed towards Venezuela. And everybody says, no, we're not. We're going to Disney World. And I say, okay, well, if you start to see cornfields, we might be in the wrong place. If you start to see, I don't know, a big flag with one star on it, we're in Texas. If you start to see that maybe nobody's speaking English, well, then we could be anywhere in the United States. But generally, we're probably down here. Okay? I tell you these things so we can say, all right, we're probably here. We're probably here. Now we're here. It gives you a way to judge the direction and the speed. Because if we're here, and I say, you know what? When you start seeing places that look a lot like Cabo, you'll know. We're down here. And you'll be able to say, oh, 10 minutes ago we were here, now we're here, so, gee, we're headed rapidly in the wrong direction. When I started 8 years ago, we had a chance to make it to Disney. And we still do. We still do. But it's going to be a lot harder to get there, especially if we cross over into the borders of Venezuela. We're headed the wrong way. But 8 years ago, we were headed the wrong way in a slow-moving Winnebago. When Obama was elected, we ditched the Winnebago in favor of a Ferrari, and now we're headed there at light speed. Last night, I updated you on some of the things that we warned about over the last year, and many over time came to fruition, but never before have so many started happening one right after another in such rapid succession. We counted 8 of my predictions that came true over the weekend. That's staggering. That's never happened to us before. Never. I came in this morning for the morning meeting, and there were 3 more that came true. What this is speed. Speed and direction. Do you remember when I was over, I think I did this at CNN, and then I did it at Fox. The birth pangs. Birth pangs. First, there's just little tremors. And then you're like, ow! And your wife says, I should get to the hospital. And then it just starts happening. And then, here's my favorite part. An arrival at the end. Uh-oh, look who's coming to dinner. What's the arrival? Who's arriving? Or where are you arriving at? All of these things are happening, and no one is manning the wheel that is taking you where you want to go. And we as citizens are not taking responsibility for our own life. Many aren't. Brings me to this quote. No wind blows in favor of a ship without direction. You have to choose the direction. And then use the forces of what's at your disposal. Wind. Use it. In life, whenever you're in trouble, your parents would always say to you, where are you headed? Where are you headed? That we have to ask about America. Where are we headed? Where do you want to go? This question is no longer valid. It doesn't matter anymore. This question does. Where do you want to go? What do you want to be like? Well, I mean, this is just off the top of my head. I want an America that understands fiscal responsibility, and not just in Washington, but us as well. What is fiscal responsibility even mean anymore? What does frugal even mean anymore? I want to live in America that is spiritually responsible. You have to take responsibility for your own soul. There is no such thing as collective salvation. We have to be a nation of laws and not men. That means no corruption. We don't become Mexico. You can't bribe all of the officials. We have to be a nation of faith. I don't care what church you go to, but faith. Because faith leads to truth. And we have to become a culture again that is derived from truth. We haven't been that for a long time. And a country that understands love. And a country that understands love, they understand charity, faith, hope, and charity. We have to make this choice now, because time is running out. And what I showed you here on this map, let's open up these wings. What happened on this map, and I showed you this, I think, last fall. It is happening. And when you see what I'm going to show you next hour, this is exactly what George Soros is now saying. But remember, this was Looney Tunes when I did this on Fox. But today, there were 3 more birth pangs. Let me just show you these 3 birth pangs here. First one is the perfect storm. Remember that I have been saying this for almost 10 years now, the perfect storm. What it means is we've had all of these problems before, but we as a country have never faced all of them at once. And it's not just me saying this anymore. The perfect storm is here. Here's one sign of where we are. The 5-day Davos Forum just came to a close, and the consensus was big trouble is coming very soon. Quote, 2013 could be a perfect storm where you have a full Eurozone crisis, where the fiscal problems of the United States come to a head, and there is an investment bust, and you have a hard landing in China as well. How about this one? I feel we'll be back here next year, and the hole will be that much deeper. Or this one. You will see a radicalization in politics, the potential for unraveling, not just of the euro, but the political structures which underpin the European Union. It is really quite real. Or this, the Eurozone is in a slow-motion train wreck. Not only Greece, but the other countries are insolvent. And the threat of war building with Iran and unrest continues all around the Middle East, Europe, and in our own streets. When you have people in Europe and in the Middle East and here in America, and they're all pretty much shouting the same thing, just in a different language. Let's just use what they were shouting in Oakland this weekend. Kill the cops, kill the cops, kill the cops. How do you think that's going to work out? Especially when you don't have anybody on the higher-ups that will do anything about it. They're using it. My stance on buying gold has been pretty clear. I have said that China would start buying up the metals. I've said that for years. They've been buying up everything they can get. But now, first, watch what I've said.
China is already divesting themselves of all of their dollars. They're getting rid of all of their dollars, and they're what they're doing is they're going out and they're buying mines, they're buying minerals, they're buying precious metals.
Okay. This is 2009. Let me give you the latest news today. Now China is buying record amounts of gold. They have bought approximately 490 tons of gold in just the last few months, double what they did in 2011. Why? Well, the People's Bank of China, their central bank, the ones that are really, helping buy all of our debt, they're doing most of the buying, and they say, quote, no asset is safe now. The only choice to hedge risks is to hold hard currency, gold. This is huge. when China says, got to get out of the dollar, they see what's coming. And they're getting out while they can. Are we as a nation? No. No, we're not. We're digging ourselves deeper. Are you as an individual? I have also warned many times that we are following the same path as Europe and the UK. Here I am. As I'm watching Europe, I'm pleading with you. Watch it, because what's happening in Europe is coming our way. Okay. I'm pleading with Americans, please. Well, an American-born woman who's lived in the UK for nearly half a century just wrote a harsh reality check in the London Telegraph. Here it is. Barack Obama is trying to make the U.S. more of a socialist state. Listening to the President's State of the Union message last week was surreal. To visit our own recent past, there were almost word for word all those interminable Gordon Brown budgets that preached fairness while listing new endless ways in which the central government could intervene in every form of economic activity, to which we who come from the future can only shout, no, go back, don't go down this road. Yet we continue, full speed ahead. Why? It's not reckless, it is intentional. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. Good. Another prediction, the dollar's day as the world currency are numbered. Here's what I've said.
Mark my words. Mark my words. The dollar will at some point be a thing of the past, or at least as we understand it, it'll be a basket of currencies.
I said this, people, I mean my friends, said Glenn, that's never going to happen. Well, today, a telling maneuver happening on the brink of more sanctions on Iran, which is yet another prediction of ours. They're sanctions because they wouldn't come clean on their nuke program, but China has said they're going to ignore the sanctions and China will keep importing oil from Iran. Now, India, who usually buys all of its oil from Iran with dollars, is siding with China, and they say they are going to ditch the dollar and start buying oil from Iran with the rupee. What is that going to do? We've talked about the importance of food storage. You want things to be really bad? Let people go hungry, right?
We are facing a global food crisis that we have never seen before.
That's 2008. I have been mocked for saying, just think, people, think about how dependent you are on others for your food. And then when they do think, if they do think, suddenly it's not so funny, like it's not now to the people in Mexico. They're not laughing about it today in Mexico. Severe drought plus a rare cold snap has now crushed the farming industry there, and it has triggered a food crisis that could last up to 5 months when the rainy season really starts up. Well, will that cause any more tension on the border? European fall, this I told you on Fox, European fall, civil unrest, default, then the collapse of Europe. Riots are joined by the Islamic extremists in civil war. That's after the Arab Spring. War and revolution spread. Caliphate gathers with Turkey at the center. Israel the focus of hate. Pressure extends to Europe and America. All these have happened except for the Turkey at the center for so far. Collapse, end of the Europe, that's what they're saying in Davos. Then over here, we have the American Spring. This is what's coming. They have to complete the framework. This is why Google and everything else is all starting to change. They're completing the networks and the framework. Then all of the pressure points are going to be hit. Well, they already are. You know what this is? Here's a pressure point for you. Nobody can figure out why the president would take on the Catholics and the Catholic Church. Why would he do that right in election? Oh, because this is their goal. Not to win an election. This is their goal. Hit all of the pressure points. The poverty push. Discourage people. You can't do it. You need a handout. That's happening. The economic hardship and then eventually collapse. It's coming. Riots are already here. And this is coming as well. I can't see the future. I just read the news like every other Joe out there. The only difference is I've turned off my internal screensaver.